This is a video for the Club Contessa. Well, girls, we did it. What a year it's been. Contessa has been an absolute legend this year, and we finished it off in a great result at the Tryon International 3-day event. This was her second 4-star long. Her first one was in the pouring rain at Bromont, and this one was in the pouring rain at Tryon. All in all, Contessa was a star. She was very, very good in all three phases, and the best news for me is that she sort of looks to have got through it unscathed, which is a huge accomplishment because, as I've said all the time, is that our big goal is to get her to some 5-stars next year. Most likely Kentucky 5-star. And this was a huge stepping stone event to achieve that dream. So this is the dressage test. We arrived there on Tuesday afternoon. I gave her a nice hack, and then worked her a couple times Wednesday, and then Silver flew down Wednesday night, trained me on Thursday, and then this is the dressage test in the pouring rain on Friday morning. Now, I was really, really pleased with her test. Honestly, 90% of it was the best work we've got out of her. Silver's been working really, really hard on her flat dressage work, and we actually got 2 clean flying changes. They weren't great changes, but they were at least heading in the right direction, which is obviously her hard point. That's her biggest challenge. But to me, all of this trot work was beautiful and smooth and level. And sadly, we didn't get the scores that I was thinking. Like she's been in the high 20s or the very low 30s all year round, with all the shows that she's done. And after I did, this, I felt like this was one of our best tests. So I was heartbroken when I looked at the score. We scored a 35, which is not too bad, but it's I don't know. I was a little bit grumpy just because I watched a lot of the other horses compete, and I really felt like Contessa outdid them. Had a little bit of a discrepancy with the flying changes. I've watched this test over and over and over again, and she actually does 2 clean flying changes, and sadly the 3 judges I believe made a mistake and scored them as late behind changes. To me, that was a good change, and we got a 3.5 and 2.4. So I was so grumpy. I met up with the dressage judges after this and discussed it, and they sort of admitted a little bit of wrong. They were actually very, very gracious, and it was good actually sitting down with them, and I went through the test, and they did make remarks of we've got to get her a little bit more soft and supple through her neck. And obviously this is the next change. They're there, but they're not perfect. She's a little bit crooked and twisty in it. My wife Silver, though, assures me by April of next year they're going to be automatic. So let's just say I've got to keep the bride sweet at the moment, because I do think that this is one area that if we can improve with Contessa, that look at this trot here. It's beautiful. Nice extended trot. Anyway, with these 4-star longs, it's such the cross country and the cross country and the length and the degree of difficulty on the course and the speed which you have to go, that all of a sudden the dressage score doesn't matter so much. So it was the first time I decided to go quite fast on Contessa, and I have to say the first third of the course she was brilliant. If you can see here, I didn't go crazy chasing her, but like all the jumps I was catching them out of stride, and unfortunately you don't see it. You'll see it on the next video that about a third of the way around the course there was this big open oxer, and she saw it, and I don't know what happened, but she just ran at it. And the cross country control's been a bit of an issue. Like I think if I go a little bit slow and careful, she's quite easy to handle and balance and slow down. But as soon as you go fast, there's something that triggers in her mind where she just sort of grabs the bit and rushes at the jump. And I admire her bravery and her enthusiasm, but it's a tricky thing when a horse sees a jump and just runs at it. So I've got to keep training her to stay settled, and I think next year maybe practicing one event where we go a bit faster. And honestly, I do believe I'm gonna have to put a sharper bit in her mouth, because she looks nice and easy and soft here, but sometimes I'm a bit nervous that I can't get her back, so I don't go quite as fast as she can go, just with the worry that I'd have trouble balancing her and slowing her down as we come to the jump. She is an incredible galloper, though. I suppose the best thing about this year too, guys, is up until now her soundness has been a chink in her armour, and this year I've made her, her health and her soundness and her muscling and her feet and everything about her trotting up sound and healthy a priority. And she has stayed very, very healthy, and bless her, like this and Bromont's very, very tough, grueling events, and she stayed good and healthy and sound. So I think she's getting fitter and getting sort of this base fitness on her where staying in consistent work helps. And then I do feel like we've got more weight on her, more muscle. We've put her on some ulcer medication and along with some other muscle building products. So she is stronger. And then we've been relentless about her feet. We got a top blacksmith shoeing her, and her feet look really, really good compared to last year. So hats off to my groom, Steph. She's we paid particular. You can see here she's starting to get a bit strong and wild here, and I'm at the end of the reins going, whoa. And she that was definitely a life. That was definitely I saw my life flash before my eyes there. She, at this part of the course, just grips the bit and runs at the jump, and that was supposed to be 6 strides to 3 strides, and she did 5 to 2. And silly me, I had no gloves on, don't ask me why, and my reins were slipping, and I was sort of a little bit on survival mode here, where in the back of my mind I knew we couldn't win because we had the frangible pin early on. So I just wanted to get her home, but still try and jump all these jumps fast and out of stride. And she's still got plenty of fire left. As you can see, we're in the last minute here, and she's still raring to go. And then the last fence, oh my gosh, I thought it was the end of us. It was a bit like those squirrels back there, where on top of her I can see a good takeoff stride to the jump, and she sees, not this jump, a couple of jumps time, she sees the last jump and just takes over, and geez, we nearly tipped over. But in true Contessa style, she stayed on her feet and finished really, really well. And we had a ton of rain there, so the ground was actually very favourable for us. It was a little bit soft underfoot, and you can see here, I'm sure I see a good stride. Whoa. Whoa. It would have been very disappointing if I fell off just before the finishing line there. That would have been a disaster. Anyway, guys, we got actually the team that helps me with our social media put a helmet cam on me, so you're actually seeing Contessa. There's a Contessa's ears, and they're going around the course here from the helmet cam. So like I said before, I really wanted to actually try and be fast on this course, so you can see all these early jumps I'm seeing good forward distances too, like seeing good galloping jumps. And then this next fence, this is the one she clambered through. And we were very lucky that was a frangible pin actually, because I think if that was a fixed jump, we might have fallen. But you can see how brave and accurate she is all through these skinnies and narrows. Like, you really need a horse that's game. And again, there's a couple jumps where she sort of rushes and she forgets about staying patient, but she still knows that she has to get between the flags. She's a phenomenal animal like that. She really knows her job. And trying to go fast at the jumps is hard, because in the back of my mind I worry if I go too fast and then she won't slow down at the end, it might not be so good. And I mean, look at these narrow fences. She is a prick, and she just knows that she's got to get between that red and white flag. She's a great horse like this. Like, for this next jump, I had to slow right down because I knew this was 5 strides, and she sort of charged down there, and I worry I got to somehow try and get her to settle and slow down between the jumps. It's a good problem to have in a weird kind of way, if you think about it. Like, most horses, you're encouraging and trying to get them to be brave, and with Contessa, we're just trying to steady up and slow her. So I think we've got a lot to look forward to next season. My plan is to give her a couple weeks off here, try and get some more weight on her. Have a look at this here. She rushes this squirrel, and I thought, and she just somehow gets inside that flag. What a good girl. I do think we've got a horse for Kentucky next year. She is going to be on the greener side of things. Saying that, she's done 2 very, very hard 4-star longs this year at Bromont and Tryon. So we've got the runs on the board. This is the last jump. Good girl. And we've got her healthy. I do think that Contessa's, she's a horse that it's hard to keep the muscle on. It's hard to keep her feet looking good. And, we can't run her too much just because she's got skinny little legs. But she's experienced now. She's seasoned now. And she's healthy. So I think next year we'll run 3 or 4 events, along with some show jumping shows and dressage shows, and see if we can't line her up to the Kentucky 5-star. Obviously, nothing's set in stone, but we've come this far, guys, and she's a great jumper. She was actually, this is obviously the show jumping, she was the best round of show jumping for the class. Saying that, she didn't jump that well. If you can see her here, she's still a bit panicked from the cross-country course the day before. She's ultra careful, but she sort of puts her head up in the air and rushes a bit. And I do think crashing through the frangible pin oxer the day before upset her a bit. If you can think back to some of our other shows leading up to this, we've sort of had her a little bit softer and a little bit more supple and relaxed. And even though she's jumping careful, she's a little bit on cross-country mode here. She's sort of got the head in the air, and she's a bit too keen to the jump. So it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked. But saying that, we finished in 4th place, which is a great accomplishment. To finish at 3rd place at Bromont, then 4th place here at Tryon are 2 big results. And she's proved that she's got the heart and the ability to compete at this top level. So we're going to give her a bit of a break, and then ready to charge into next season. I think it's going to be a big year next year for Contessa. Thanks, guys.